So yeah, let me introduce myself. My name is Funny. Having around 15 plus years of experience in web and mobile app development. I work for big different organizations. So the today agenda of this demo session is we will be mainly concentrating on the UI development. So during this training course, we will be letting you develop how you can develop a real-time end-to-end applications by the end of these training sessions. You will be learning during the sessions like how we will be solving the real-time problems during compilation or something you get something like that. So UI development is nothing but it's a front-end applications. In other terms, the client-side applications. Hope everyone are familiar with the concepts with the terminologies called HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Am I right, guys?
Yes.
So everyone
Yeah.
have some at least idea like what is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right?
Yes, fine.
I got only one. Yeah, thanks, guys. So it's nothing. The client-side applications are nothing but you bundle up your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript onto your browser. The browser is what renders your application and it navigates to a different user interface. So the smaller the bundle size you have, the faster your application loads. So, but we talk about UI development, right? But how this web application development has evolved over a period of time. In 1.0 era, applications were mainly built on the server side. Still, such apps are exist since they are highly secure. Since why? Because the app logic and everything is on the back end. But as a web standard has got to change, the apps started to shift towards the client side. Means the logic of writing the apps have started to shift to the client side. So what this provides is it helps you to have a span between the user and the web app. Also, the client side logic makes your app responsive so that it's easy to navigate on the different devices. Earlier, when we used to develop a legacy applications, it used to work only on your web. It does not run other things. For such cases, again, you need to do some other way of doing those things. So now we have two different web application frameworks. One that helps to set up your logic on the server and other on the client. So by using these both, you can create a very powerful web application simultaneously. So if you see the most popular server-side web application frameworks you would have heard everywhere else is about Express, which uses the Node.js or the JavaScript. You also heard about the Django or the Python, which uses the Python scripts. What this does is by using either of these applications framework, you can handle the HTTP requests, the database control, and other things. Now, when we come to the UI part, we have a different frameworks like React, Angular, vanilla JavaScript, where you use HTML, CSS, and other things. So just let me share my screen. It's visible. Please let me know, everyone. So is my screen visible?
Not it.
Hello.
Not it.
One second. I just shared it actually.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Yes, guys. So you are able to visible, right? Yeah. So if you see the general design, generally you go anywhere, the general consideration will be we will be having a client side, we'll be having a business tier, and we will having a data tier. Client side is nothing but the web applications or the user interface what we built and the user uses. The data tier is nothing but you have your different databases. For example, say you have a MongoDB, you have NoSQL. Based on your business requirement, you do the data tier. Business tier is where the client and the data tier communicate or you perform some set of logic. That is what by next slide says. What is a presentation tier? Is nothing but which the user uses to interact with the application. The middle tier is nothing but the presentation tier and data tier used to communicate with each other. The database tier is nothing but that stores your application data. So in general, if you go to deep dive, you have you have inbuilt like presentation tier, business tier, what you write, data tier, like I said, right? Database, some and other things, other ways to access your data. We will be mainly concentrating during this demo on the presentation tier. So the presentation tier is nothing but the web UI what we build. So there are different types of web application architecture. Earlier architecture was done on legacy web applications. Like it's a very basic architecture, web architecture. To see an update, what user needs to fully reload the page, or in other words, to have a client send a request for an HTML page to the server and load its entire code once again. For example, you see this is the basic first design of the legacy HTML applications what we started, where for any change that goes to the web server and again it comes back and reloads the entire page. So this type of activity of loading make users burden, right? Every time I need to go some this I have a small change, I need to come here, I need to refresh the page, and page keeps reloading. So user gets frustrated. That was the first step of your legacy application what was designed. So this architecture was pretty much secure since your entire app logic was on the server. So that was very much secure. But every time the interaction going to the server, coming here and reloading the page takes a lot of time. And so then came up with a different web application framework called widget based framework. So in this, the entire page does not reload, but a small types of widgets uses the Ajax call. See, I'll just show the diagram. See, this is the widget based design where it uses the Ajax call and makes a web service and load that particular widget. Earlier, we used to see that HTML page was rendering on the client side and reloading the page. But here, only a small widget goes to the service server and comes back and loads here. So this was very much became a standard, and client was using it. But during this time, the security was little bit on the app side, right? So there were some security concerns were taken up. So then came up the concept called single page applications. Single page applications is what single page applications is what we are doing. It's a single page web page once we download on the client side. This page has a JavaScript layer that can freely communicate with any web services on the server. And using the data from the web service, it makes the real-time update to itself. You can see here the diagram. So it just communicates to the web service, just gets the data and just reloads it instead of reloading the entire page. So what is the advantage? Earlier, entire HTML content was used to transfer from the server to the UI, but here only small chunks of data based on the business requirement comes to your UI. So this process became very agile, responsive, and lightweight. So this type of technology using framework helps you to build the web application as well as into a convert into hybrid mobile apps with the help of wrappers such as Cordova or PhoneGap. So, so we have talking about all the web tag architecture and other things till now. So using this, we have heard about different technologies. You would have heard, I guess, guys, you have heard about Angular, right? Hello,
Yes.
guys. Yeah. So you have heard about different UI. Can anyone just tell me like what you have heard about different UI technologies?
Like Angular is like I have heard it's two-way binding, while React
Yeah.
has one-way binding. Um,
So
and there is a
others.
Vue.js.
Yes, good, right. What about others? Your very first time on this right on UI side, or you have heard somewhere within your friend circle saying, I okay, this is what the technology or something like that. You guys have heard, or is the first time you are hearing about React or Angular? Guys, other guys also, please can respond. If it is no, if it
No,
is no, yes,
no,
you
sir.
can say this is the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah. When it comes to
Sure, sure.
React.js, is one kind of library,
Yeah.
yeah, which is
So,
truly based on
so how?
JavaScript.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great, guys. You have some idea. So let's see
yeah, yeah.
how React has evolved. How React has evolved over the period. It was developed by Facebook in the year 2011. Then for
Yeah.
their only social networking site. Then in 2011, Instagram started using it. By 2014, many major companies have started using React. And today, every small, medium, big companies, everyone start using React only. React is a very hot skill where it lands you very fast in big companies when you have a good skills of React. So this is how the slide says, like Facebook has created React in 2011. So then in 2012, Instagram also started using it. And 2014, many large companies using React. And slowly they have started migrating from Angular to React. And today, React is used by many Fortune 500 companies. So generally, what is a React? If you guys have answered just now saying it's an open source library. Yes, it's open source UI to build the UI interface. It's mainly focused on the UI. Normally, you take other things, you concentrate on some other logics and other things. But React is mainly focused on UI. It's completely a component-based architecture. So what is a component-based architecture? If you see, for example, this entire screen say it's a UI page, right? This might be a header. How React involved might be a header. So today React.js is used by many Fortune 500. I can put this as a footer, and in between this is a middle component. So it's a component based. Earlier we used to have this entire HTML page. So the reusability of the code is very minimal, because again I need to use the same, how React involved in the next page. Again I used to copy this entire content into the next HTML and the entire footer into the next HTML. So there was no concept of reusability. So if you see React, I said, right, component based architecture, where you have a header, where you have a side navbar, you have a main content, and you will be having a footer. Generally, you take any basic application, any architecture, or any UI you have seen, every UI has the header, they have a sidebar, you have a footer, and you have a main content. This is how the actual things you have, right? It breaks it what this does is it's break the application into smaller parts, which they see every developer can, I can work on the footer part, you can work on the side navbar, other guy can work on the main content, and other guy can work on the header. So you compose all the smaller parts and integrate to make it a more complex UI to develop the more complex UI. A traditional see, this is example I'm saying, a traditional web application can be broken like this. Am I right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can see any traditional web applications or anywhere you work, you will be having a header, you have a side, like it's called like a hamburger menu. You'll be having a footer and you have a main content. So any traditional web application will be broken in this way. Each section will be a component based. So what this happens is this component makes it possible to write the reusable code. That is what my next slide says. See, so it makes you to break down your application into smaller parts, and that can be composed to create a more complex UI. So if you see in the back slide, I am breaking this. I can again break this main content into again smaller components, and compose all these components to create my bigger UI picture. So each section represents a component. So component makes it to write a reusable. That's what this slide talks about. What I was explaining in the earlier diagram. So what is a reusable code? For example, I am just saying in my next slide. For example, I have a component called article. I have written the component of article in React. The same component I can reuse the code with some piece of passing the right data. I can use the component Angular as well as use Vue.js. So the advantage of reusability makes the entire is a very big plus point for the enterprise applications. So before this, what we used to do when I develop in one technology, one screen, in other goes again, I need to redo the entire code there. Again, when I goes to somewhere else, I used to need to redo the everywhere. No, no, not that case. You can just tell you can just pass some proper data, and you can reuse that component in different technologies. Okay, guys, are we okay up to here? Like how React was evolved, what is the why to use React, and what is a reusable code. And we can also say React is declarative. So what does it means is you tell React what you want to build and it does for you. So DOM, see, we are talking about React, right? Why React we are using? It's about handling your DOM updates very gracefully. So the next slides talks about that does only. So most of the people, when you ask the first question, what is the difference between a React or an Angular JS? What comes to the mind? They say it's a virtual DOM and a shadow DOM. You have heard this question, right, guys? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So anywhere you have attended any interviews or any basic interview level of questions or anywhere you go, the first step they ask is what is the difference between a virtual DOM and a shadow DOM. So React uses a virtual DOM. So that's the reason why it's very fast when it loads on the browser when compared to other technologies which uses shadow DOM. Virtual DOM is nothing but it does not any updates happens, it does not reload your entire page, only that particular piece of node it gets updated. But when you go to Angular, when the DOM updates, when it updates, it's entirely reloads the tree. That is the main advantage of React, why the companies are seeing towards the React more and more. So why React? Let's we are talking about React when we have other Vue.js and other things, right? So till now I was saying that so it's very flexible. Like you can integrate that React in different technologies. It has a wide community support. There are lots of people, about 20 million users are using widget wide community support where you can, if you are stuck anywhere, you can search them and you can from the community get the support. It's lightweight and provides greater performance. So it's lightweight means the React libraries are only in KBs, around 6 KB or something like that. So why it provides greater performance? I just told you, right? It's based on the virtual DOM concept. So and it's easy to test. So it's very pretty easy. You write a just test case and you can easily test the React applications. So when you see React, it mainly focus on building your view layer of the application. All the screens, whatever you do, they mainly use to build the React on the user applications. So most of the people say like React is not just a framework, it's a library or it's a framework as well, not a library. They are not wrong. Why? Because React just does not provide you writing some pre-written code or small snippets and functions. You can build a whole web applications on React. And there is a concept, you have more familiar with React using advanced range, you know you can build React native mobile applications. There is not much difference between React and React native. The coding style, the components and everything, they are pretty much similar and remains the same. The only change is you have some additional plugins for React native. You have heard about React native, right? It's used for building hybrid apps. Nowadays, most of the applications they are not building on the Android native or iOS Swift, but most of them are shifting to hybrid apps using React native or using Flutter. So we are when you are familiar with React, you will be very much easy to use React native as well. So just
Sir,
earlier I was telling right virtual DOM. Yeah, tell me. Sorry.
sir, hybrid you means if we have built application using React Native, then that should run on iOS and Android both. Is
Yeah,
that
hybrid application. Yeah, normally, generally, what happens is earlier trend was we used to develop Android using Java and Kotlin. So that was a separate code base and separate technology we use. When you want to do it on iOS, so you use Swift. iOS have a Swift technology. So when you're using Swift, that's a different coding technology. So what is happening is for iOS I need to have a separate team, and for Android I need to have a separate team. So maintaining those things, giving all the things, it's a cost on the company, right? Or cost for building the application. That's where the hybrid apps concept came up, where you can build the mobile apps using React native, and you can run that on both Android as well as iOS. You can build on both. So that is having a single code base for both Android and iOS. That is called the hybrid apps. Okay.
okay,
I
sir?
have cleared your question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
we
Thank you.
have heard about virtual DOM. We have heard about what is JSX. JSX is nothing but JavaScript
Hello.
extension. That means, yeah, sorry, someone is asking something.
Yeah. After successful completion of learning the React, how much time to take to learn the React Native?
Yeah, see, React again, when you complete the React, right? React Native maximum it takes around at 15 to 20 days more, because there are certain tags, certain plugins, and certain way of doing, right? Normally, React Native works in a different way. You need to have some app.json it creates. Means the coding style remains the same. Means the UI screens, what you do. For example, I just show. Okay, that is not open actually, my application. Sorry. I wanted to show, but I'll show you when in a subsequent training, like how you do a React and React Native. Okay.
Okay.
During our training sessions, I'll just show you. Okay, during the training sessions, we'll just when you're doing the coding demos or the practicals, right? During that time, we'll let you know like the same way how you can do it in React Native. But there are some additional concepts also you need to run React Native, which are mobile basic specific. Okay.
Yeah, like what about Ionic? Ionic is also
Okay.
for developing the mobile
Yes,
apps, right?
Ionic is also a hybrid app which is used with Angular. So when we are right now focusing mainly on the React and React, right? Ionic is
Okay.
mostly focused on the Angular flavors. It's an Angular flavor. React and React
With,
Native
I- with Ionic also we
is
can build native apps, hybrid
yes,
apps.
yes. With Ionic also you can build hybrid apps, but Ionic uses WebView, and React Native is much faster in interaction and look and feel when compared to Ionic. Okay.
Like what about the Flutter?
Flutter is also one more technology. It uses Dart, so you need to have a learning curve in the Dart and other things. But here React is
Okay.
if you have a HTML, CSS, and JavaScript technology, you can build it. But Flutter comes with a Dart technology. Dart is again you need a learning curve. So the
Okay.
advantage here is you know React, you can develop React Native as well. So there you have a plus
Okay.
point of having both.
Okay.
So
Thank
yeah,
you, sir.
coming
Thank
back here. So we are here, right? We have just now spoken about virtual DOM, right? So what is then we have about the JSX. You know, JSX is nothing but JavaScript extensions where you write the HTML code inside the JavaScript. For examples, I will just show here. You can see, right? This is a JSX screen. Okay, the JavaScript extension. I'm writing the HTML code inside it. So don't get confused because these all things in our training course we will learn how to do all these things. So this is what, see, we are writing the entire HTML inside the JavaScript code. That is what the JSX file says. That is what the JSX says. So what this does is it used to build a reusable component independent of each other, and that's what significantly reduce your development time. And you have a powerful state management concept called Redux. Redux is nothing but it's a state management where you manage your state. For example, say I need to have some certain data from one screen needs to go to all the way to the end user, end of the screen, some 10 screens, and it needs to update there and should come to the first page. So all this management doing in your pages and everything gets cumbersome by using local store or web store, all the things. So that's the way that you have a powerful concept called Redux. Redux is nothing but it's a state management to manage your state. So you can see, as we have earlier discussed, right? React is a unidirectional flow, unlike Angular, where it's a bidirectional. Someone we have earlier asked, right? So it has strict rules and the flow is unidirectional. It's easy to test, and this maintenance of the websites are very easy. So more on React, we say you can integrate the existing React any of your applications. Earlier I did like we have built a React application and we have integrated that into an Angular application. So it was that application was seamless. So I said, right, when you are hands on with React, you can build React Native mobile applications as well. So we developed first, how the integration started is we developed first a single page. We tried to integrate that application. Then that when it was working, we have integrated the entire application into an existing applications. That integration part is very easy in React when compared to other technologies. So we have heard about why React, how what React, but when to use React? So when you can use React? Any guys? We have heard, right? Like DOM manipulations easy. It loads very fast. So have you got any idea like in which situation we can go for React? Any guesses? Like which
Standalone
type
applications.
we need to go? Yes, Amazon applications or anywhere where you have lot of data keeps changing, right? A single page application like a news, you have Times of India, some newspapers you have seen, right? where the data keeps changing, refreshing, and other things. You don't need to reload the entire page, right? That particular part of div gets changed, right? That's called dynamic websites. So mostly we use React to build dynamic websites, or where you have data visualization, where you have more of data visualization, where you get where your data keeps coming from the backend and keeps changing. Right now, I can say, right, we have seen that election predictions in times and other things, right, where they give the graphs, keeps data coming and keeps refreshing, right? You have seen, right, the exit polls and other things they give, right? Hello.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, in such type of applications where we can use React, where it renders very fast without any lag. So these slides you can just go through. That's what this speaks about. So it says it's a perfect choice when you want to develop a single page application, as it can rewrite and update the content on the page without reloading or refreshing the page. You can just visualize like the election exit poll results, where every second the graph keeps changing and the figures keeps changing. So they are not refreshing the page, but it's automatically updates the content. That is what is dynamic website. Like multiple user requests comes, the React is the best solution. So I said, right, data dashboards and data visualization tool. Am I right? Where you have all the graphs and other things. In such cases, we are using React. So React, you have, we will also learn how we can render the UI page from server side. What's the advantage of server side rendering is your page loads much faster without a delay. Right now we are loading from the UI. You have a server, and you from the server also you can load the React. That is called React SSR. It's nothing but React server side rendering. And also we can use React where you want to use SEO marketing. So search engine optimization, like when you want to search, right, your record should come first, your website should come first. In such type of application, React is the best technology to use for search engine optimizations. So what are the prerequisite for React we need to have? Everyone, we need to have a little bit of HTML. We need to know about CSS and JavaScript fundamental. We need to know a little bit of ES6, and most commonly used JavaScripts in the code, like filter, map, and reduce. For examples, I'll just showcase somewhere in the live. If I have used it, I'll just let you know 1 second. So arrow functions is what we said, right? ES6 arrow functions is what we have learned here. We have checked here, right? ES6 constant let arrow functions, right? Template retrials, you can
Hello.
see, right?
Yeah,
This is what in the, yeah, hello, yeah, tell me.
yeah, sir. Nowadays, mostly companies are using TypeScript, right?
That, yeah, that depends on this. There are two ways. Either you go with JavaScript or you can go with TypeScript. So that TypeScript also we will be letting you know in your training sessions, like how to use TypeScript. But 99% of the applications they are building on the JavaScript. Why? Because JavaScripts are simple and they render very fast.
Okay,
It depends on the choice of the requirement of the client, because most 99.9% of the companies uses JavaScript only. TypeScript has
okay,
only come little later to use it. But I guess there are few companies who are looking on the TypeScript as well. TypeScript again goes same like Angular flavor. So this is the different. So you can
okay,
see, right, the arrow functions. This is what ES6 arrow functions what we are saying. Okay. And is there anything to render? Like I said, something to render, right? Yeah, map. I said, right, JavaScript net map function. This we use extensively in building our applications. So you have seen, I've just showcased here, right? Uh, Map function, filter, reduce, so let and const we are defining, right? You can see here. The keywords also we are defining. See constant. Okay. So that's what the main terminology you need to know about this filter, map, reduce, these keywords, arrow. These are mostly widely used in the React applications. So last 1 year trends, you can see the last 1 year trends about Angular, React, and Vue.js. You can just see this is a recent trends. The most stable and most widely used is ReactJS. Angular is just going down. It's not down, but mostly people are preferring React. So this is the last 1 year trend of which technology has been used widely. So during our demo, I just read it. What are the tools we are going to cover? This is a Visual Studio. We'll be just learning about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Postman is nothing but I'll just have a yeah. Okay, I have the Postman or not. I'm just checking. Sorry, Postman. You know, right? What is Postman, guys?
AP,
Any idea?
HTTP
Anyone?
request is this.
AP testing
Yes,
like
you are absolutely.
sending a request and getting the
So
request.
Requests and responses.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So why we are using Postman in covering the UI is by the end of the course, you will be hands-on in developing a completely live application where you integrate the APIs. So to test whether the APIs are working or not, we use the Postman. Visual Studio Code is the IDE which we uses for our development. Just now I shown you, right? This is a Visual Studio Code where we use the IDE to develop our applications. Okay, so and this cat symbol is about GitHub. So we will be also learning
GitHub.
how you check in, yeah, how you check in the code, how you pull the code, and how you commit the code. And then what are the topics we are covering in our training is we just have introduction. We have what is the sample, like how do you create a React app, what are the folder structures, what is a component. You have two types of component, right? You will be having functional component and class component. What are those? A small practical project. What are different types of hooks you have? What is a state? What is a prop? So all these things you will be learning and will be doing on the live project. For example, I just told you some concepts, right? Like state and prop. See, this is the state. Like we will be learning what is a state, and then we'll be doing a practicals and how do you use a state. What is a prop? This is a prop. So how do you use a prop and how do you pass a prop and other thing. This is a functional component. Similarly, like this, if you take, we'll see. I have written somewhere. Okay, all these are props. And also we'll be knowing how to use a class components, how to use both, and what is the advantage of functional or what is the advantage of props, and how do you pass methods as a props. That is also we'll know. Event handling is nothing but on-click events, conditional rendering. So list, and this I showed you, right? List rendering, list and key using map. This is the basic styling and CSS we need to have a proper look and feel. So why I used Postman? Because we do the form handling and submit the form using HTTP request. The lifecycle methods like hooks, component DID modes, and other things. So like this, we will be covering all the things like higher order components, rendering, context means passing the data, use effect, reducers. So in the miscellaneous concept is where we turn talk more about what is a TypeScript, basic and how to use a TypeScript, what is a Redux store, how to use the Redux, React with Redux. Okay, so in the conclusion, so after the training, what we will be able to do? So we will be able to be on a hands-on on developing the live projects. For example, say I have a build after the training the live projects, these are the live projects what we can build online. I'll just showcase the live projects here. So this is one part of the app what you can, after the training sessions, what we can build this. Okay, so when you go here, this will be the other part. Like these are the applications which we can build once we are hands on. So my net is a bit slow. So you can see here some errors, right? For example, I am showing some errors. So on the live, how do we solve these kinds of errors, these kinds of use cases? We will be also learning during our training session. Like can't resolve this. So how do you solve all these things? All these type of live use cases we will be learning. So you will be building something like this, a live job portal app. So this is the entire app what we can build once we complete the sessions. So how do you build these screens? What we use? How do you pass the data? How do you all load these things? This all hands what how do you use the pagination? How do you do hands-on? All these things we will be learning over the during our course, and we'll be doing this as a live, means a live project. Live projects we'll be doing this. So once you're done, we'll be doing this live project. Like we'll be solving these types of issues. For example, say I have run my npm start, but I got some issue. So how do you solve these types of issues, real time issues, when you're installing some package, it says package does not exist. So what is the steps we need to take care when these types of issue occurs during our development? That all we will be learning during our training course. So this is what we say. So during our training course, you can see, right, I have just saying this functional component, all the things. We learn this and we do one practice of any of this project. And we'll also showcase like how these projects are written. Means see that you can see here the code structure, how the code structure will be, and if you make any change, how it reflects on the live, on the sites, on these live sites, how it will reflect if I'm making any change. Suppose you go into the company where you don't get a full scratch development, but they tell you some requirement like I need to change this widget or I need to change it. On such cases, how we do? On existing projects, how we change? And some might get an advantage of working doing from scratch. On such case, what we will be doing? How we will be developing such scratch projects? So all these things we'll be learning in our training sessions. Okay, guys. So any questions? We can have it now. Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. So what is the total time period, sir, up to complete the React.js?
Uh, yeah, most of the total time period is approximately around 1 month. I'm just thinking a bit 5 to 6 more days more because I want you guys to get hands-on on how we do a live project. So generally, when you get placed in any company, right, directly you will be in hands-on to start coding rather than we are asking our friends how to do this, what to do this. So generally, we take 30 days. So I make you hands-on on all these things. So directly you can go and start working without getting tensed or how it is. Yeah,
Yes, sir. That is,
yeah, anyway. So during the demo only, we will also show like how you're writing on React, a small snippet on how do you do on React Native. Like just as we don't be doing the hands-on, but we'll be showing how this is used in the React Native. React Native will be a separate again a course. So guys, you can ping your details in the group or to the organizer. So we'll be starting the batch very soon. So anyone having any more further questions, please let me know. I'm ready to answer.
Sir, during the course, is there any live project we will gonna doing, or any existing project we will gonna just understand?
They will be doing two things. This is one existing live project we're going to understand, and one practical will be doing the live project. So I have given here, right? One second. So this practical project one, project two is a complete live project. By the end of this training session, right, you will be doing one complete live project by using these concepts. You'll be doing one more live project by using those concepts. Okay.
Okay.
We have learned about use state props handling. We'll be developing some screens, and we'll be doing from some live project. So
In
yeah,
the topics covered, Redux is not covered at, I think, in the topics.
we will be covering it here in the 30th part. Redux we'll be
Okay.
using in the introduction, and we'll be doing a not the current project, a separate sample project on Redux store. Because all the projects, what most of the companies, some 70% of companies are not using Redux. They are directly using the APIs. if you're seeing here the live projects, whatever I've shown, all these things are directly built using our API integrations. So Redux will be having the separate session with one small sample project where you will be getting a hands-on on how to use the Redux store. Like what is Redux? I had 2 to 3 days on that. What is Redux store? And a one small sample project will be doing sample application so that you will be hands-on and someone asks, you say we are familiar with Redux as well and we have done it as well.
What about Flux?
Yeah, Redux Flux only, na? Redux store it uses Flux only, right?
Yes.
There are different ways. I
Another
will
store
train
is there,
you
na?
one way. You can will be training on Redux.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
yeah, sure. So anyone else, any question, any doubts, any questions you can ask. So or you can ping the details. You can ping in the chat as well your details or to the organizer. You can ping them. So we'll be starting our training sessions very shortly.
Pani, will you provide the training on React Native also, or only in React?
That will be a separate training session covered because you need some time on that explaining as well, React Native as well.
Okay.
So that will be a different batch, not on this because
Mm-hmm.
few people only will be willing to work on the React, right? Few people working on the mobile. So that we will be
Mm.
taking up on a separate batch as well. Not included in this. We'll just showcase how it is, but React Native also will be a separate batch will start.
Oh, okay. So you will be the trainer, or some other person will be?
No, I will be the trainer.
Okay. So when can I expect that classes?
Yeah, probably starting next week.
Okay. So
Today is
because
Saturday
my
for
focus is on React Native only. Okay. So what is your suggestion? Okay. Should I go first on React or React Native?
you need to first go with React because React syntaxes you know, right? That's easy to use on
Mm.
React Native.
Okay.
Directly go to React Native, you won't be able to understand like how do you same like what is prop, how do you pass a same concepts 99% are used there. There are around some different concepts which you need to know about React, then only you can apply it on React Native because we get React Native with Expo, right? You can build
Okay.
React Native, you can build React Native with Expo.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also there
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
Sir, I have a
Thank you.
So
doubt.
once we come, yeah, you can ask.
Hello. I want React with the Spring Boot classes. Now I'm doing backend Spring Boot with microservices. Just I'm interested to develop front end React with the Spring Boot. That's any classes are there or not?
Yes, actually, there shortly we will be starting microservice as well. So microservice architecture we get with React with
Spring
Spring
Boot.
Boot or React,
Uh,
yeah, React with Spring Boot, Java Spring Boot or React with
yes.
Node.js
Mm,
microservices. So these two things also will be starting shortly. So right now,
okay.
I guess as you are learning starting, so you can start first with React. Once you're completed
Okay.
with React, then we'll be starting with the microservice on the Spring Boot.
Okay.
How do you develop? Or on the Node microservice, Node Express.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
priority is nowadays priority is since like with my experience, I think most of the people are looking complete. They need people who have hands-on on React.
Yes, of course. That's why I'm choosing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree because I see not to just say something, just like I'm having around 15 plus. I've worked in so many companies. I've seen people working with me, so they expect as a manager, I also expect like you know everything. So React is the basic first you need to know because le- most of the projects from Angular, many companies are migrating to React.
I don't
Legacy
have
applications.
any.
No
Okay,
issues. You
sir.
will learn. That's what I said, right? At the end of the training course, you will be able to develop live projects. So
Okay.
what you will be ready is directly when you're placed, you will be able to start working on it.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your information.
What is the best part of microservices or Node.js? Full
There
stack
are two things.
development.
You have full stack development. There are two things. You go with microservice architecture with Java Spring Boot or with Node. 80% companies, 60% companies are looking for Java because they have
Mm-hmm.
already
Java
existing applications
microservices.
like Java Spring
Mm.
Boot, and 40%
Mm-hmm.
of the new development completely they are doing on Node because
Mm-hmm.
all the companies they are migrating to a microservice architecture, right? But earlier technology was built on Java only, na. So
Mm-hmm.
those type of applications they are using still Spring Boot only. But latest new things you are
Mm-hmm.
building, it will be on Node microservices. That is
Mm-hmm.
easy and faster to develop and easy to maintain.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks so much.
yeah, guys. Any other guys? Any have any questions?
No,
You can
sir.
ask me. Okay. So we'll be. I guess you can ping the details in the group or through the trainer. I guess. Okay. Where is the chat? Or in the chat you can
May I
ping
know the
the
cost
details
of
to the trainer. I
may I
guess
know the
the
cost of this
organizer will.
course? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Fine.
You can talk to the organizer.
Okay.
So you can talk to her. So she will be letting you know the batch time and when we'll be starting it. But only thing I'll assure is by the end of the training session, you will be hands-on and you will be able to build these live applications. And also a small 1 hour of session like how do you deploy this? That one small sample session where how do you deploy this onto the server? So for example,
Pani.
these are working on the server, right? How do
Pani.
you deploy them? Yeah, tell me someone. Yeah, yeah, guys. Oh, anything? Any further questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you can ping the details to the organizer.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys. Thanks everyone. Thanks for giving me this opportunity as well, and thanks for joining.
Bye, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Bye.